Tony, ARM is one of 6 finalists in the People's Choice Award for the redevelopment of Flinders Street Station, an iconic project in the heart of Melbourne.
Indeed.
And I imagine that conceiving an idea for that project and presenting that idea is both exciting and nerve-wracking. Do you got a comment on that?
Sure. Well, it's certainly exciting. This was a competition that attracted about 120 entries from all over the world. So to be shortlisted is very exciting. One of 6, that's fantastic. The process we went through to come up with a solution was pretty arduous because the brief was very demanding. The government wanted a lot of detail, they wanted a lot of information, and it wasn't just about creating some fabulous image. It was about actually really solving the problems that exist with the way the station works, the way the retail components either do or don't interact with the station, the way the concourses work, getting people from one side of the station to the other. The whole circulation thing was a very big issue. So we did a lot of work, and it was tough work. And coming up with a solution that got us to the shortlisting was a very exciting thing.
A project such as this must provide a physical solution and a community solution to the challenge. How do these two influences weigh in the balance? I suspect that sometimes there'd be some stresses and strains between trying to reconcile those two ideas.
Yes, there certainly can be, but again, the community solution is the thing that is uppermost in our minds. Again, as I've said, it's satisfying the physical needs of the users of the building and those who work in the building as well, of course. But those community issues for us are more important. I mean, our design idea was flexible enough that we were able to make sure that we satisfied all the functional and community issues associated with the building, rather than just saying this is how it has to look and we then have to force other issues to work with the design. Our design was a very flexible type solution that allowed us to make sure that we satisfied all the other needs first.
How important do you think that connection is between the Yarra River and the CBD of Melbourne, and what role do you see Flinders Street Station playing in disturbing that connection or enhancing that connection?
Mm-hmm. Well, certainly for us that connection is really important. I mean, the river, albeit at times muddy and not the most beautiful piece of water, it's a really important part of Melbourne. The city now embraces both sides of the river, which is a big step forward, and we no longer try and turn our back on the river like we did 50 and 100 years ago. So for us, our scheme really needed to interact with the river. That was a high priority. We wanted to enhance both the bicycle route along the river, the pedestrian route along the river, and allow people to emerge out of the station complex and have space to breathe and relax and enjoy the river and what's on the south side of the river. So we've created a whole new pedestrian and cycle network, and we've got pods that break out over the river to allow people to really get close to the water, and that for us was a high priority.
To what extent does projecting yourself forward and thinking about how people in 25, 50, 75 years will look back on the development, how does that guide you when you're thinking about a development?
Good question. It's certainly something we are aware of. It's something that's in the back of our minds, because the types of buildings we're working on these days are things that we expect to be around for 75, 100 years. They're big and they're really important to the fabric and the growth of the city. So we certainly are endeavouring to create spaces that will be very well regarded and become a loved part of Melbourne. But you never know whether you're successful in that until probably until long after you've stopped practicing. Some of those things take a very long time, and you just have to hope that what you're doing is going to satisfy people and keep, engender a real sense of pride and ownership.
So we've got 6 finalists on the web with the People's Choice design. You have to view each of them and vote for each of them in order for your vote to be valid.
Yes.
So in the dinner parties that you've been going to of late and people you've been talking to, have you been encouraging them to go to the website and pay particular attention to your design?
Well, I've certainly been encouraging them to go to the website. I'm comfortable to stop it there though, because I would rather people voted genuinely than felt that they needed to vote for ARM. So, but I think the more people that vote in something like this, the more interesting and more valid the result is. Bearing in mind, of course, that the jury have already made their decision, so we're told, and the People's Choice won't influence the official winner. So there will be 2 winners announced on the 8th of August, and it'll be very interesting to see if they coincide or whether they are, divergently different. But we've only got to wait till Thursday next week to find out.
Well, congratulations on being a finalist.
Thank you, Phil.
And good luck with both threads of the competition. And let's hope that we can find our way to funding the project sometime in the not too distant future.
Yes, that would be a good news story, but that remains to be seen. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Tony.
My pleasure, Phil. Thank you.
Thank you.